Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, and we are on to the rift for Game 1 between Sam Houston State University and the Hawkeye CC Redtails. Sam Houston coming in 3-1 so far in this season. Hawkeye looking to try and get further in on the standings themselves. Sam Houston coming out with I think a pretty standard draft for them, all things considered, going back in some of the things that we've discussed and how Sam Houston approaches their drafting and the way that they prioritize team fighting and the way that they prioritize scaling too. I think they've definitely gotten themselves a draft in which they can do a lot with here. I think Jinx provides them a lot of options for the late game. I think a tremendous amount of scaling and damage is in their pocket, whereas you kind of look on the side of this Redtails team, there are lacking a little bit in the late game damage, I would say. Nico not necessarily going to be a reliable source of damage because she is going support. If you're looking at Trundle, you're thinking a support that can team fight a little bit, looking for picks, is definitely going to be able to split push if he decides to go that way. If, for whatever reason, Egregious decided he wanted to build a Siege Breaker or something like that. But for the most part, you're going to be looking towards Slam Daddy on the Syndra to try and set up a lot of these smaller skirmishes, team fights for this Redtails team, and ultimately go to the hyper late game where the Ord items start to matter. But, for the side of Sam Houston, I mean, this is a very, very safe draft for them, and high damage, high threat, great zoning comp that they have. I mean, if you're looking at Vigar alone, just a tremendous amount of zone control that they have with that champion, being able to set up cage. And, once you do land that baby cage on top of people, Drake's coming in with a Volibear, tremendous amount that he can do to set up for additional CC, great team fighting that they have. And ultimately, I think the other thing that's going to hurt them too is the limited amount of CC that this Redtails team does have. You're looking for an Ornhorn engage, you're looking for Scout of the Week, you're looking for a Crystal Arrow from the side of Arctic. So it is, largely conditional. It's not necessarily just point and click CC. A lot of people, I think, regard the Ash Arrow as a great way to start off fights, but it is a skill shot, and it is one of the most missed abilities in all of League of Legends. So interested to see how they'll navigate that late game matchup, especially trying to land those all important CC abilities. Is the auto attack going to get canceled for Gazer? That would have given him the grasp proc, so a little bit of a miss out there. And I think something that we're going to kind of see a little bit too is Texas A is just going to be able to sort of put a lot of pressure in this top lane and be able to force Gazer out underneath that turret over and over again. So it should just be a largely Jace favored lane through the majority of the matchup, especially without junglers getting involved in there. And that's kind of one of the lanes I'm looking at right now. Between those two teams, between Egregious and between Dre, is Pupcat going to get stunned up, get electrocuted, but not going to drop below half, so we'll be fine just for now. But in that top lane matchup, I'm looking to see junglers try and get up there to affect it early, as Trundle does have the speed right now in terms of being at least in that area. Is going to see that the majority of that top side for Dragonx is already cleared out, so he's just going to get some vision, maybe look to wrap around on top of Texas A, who is not shoved up very far in the lane though, so is playing it conservatively, knows that he doesn't have vision on Egregious, knows that he doesn't know where the Trundle's at, so doesn't want to push too far and put himself in any sort of danger where he might get ganked. And Egregious just going to go ahead and back off. Just trying to gather some information, trying to find out where Dragonx might be sitting. Doesn't place down any wards because he doesn't have any charges left for it, so not going to be able to get any kind of lingering vision for when those camps reset, but does know that Dragonx isn't in that area, so that should just be a signal for this Redtails bot lane to know that the Volibear should be somewhere in that bot lane. Again, just small advantages right now for the Sam Houston team. Nothing really to write home about. Is officially a quiet game for this Sam Houston team already, as Dragon's going to show up in that bot lane, get spotted. No Venji, just flashing the emote, letting them know that they see him. His ping's coming down in that brush. Might be looking to set up a play on Vigar. Is Texas A going to jump in? Gazer going unstoppable. This is a good trade for him right now. Texas A going to hit him back. Conqueror proc is going to have to find his way out of this one. Holding on to Flash. Is he going to expend it? It reaches his ear. And no, just going to hold on to it. Knew he was going to die. First blood going over to Gazer. And always so tricky trading onto that Ornn. It's always so weird trying to figure out how much damage you're actually going to be able to do to that threat. As Lyro's going to jump in. Zodiac getting rooted up though. Knight taking on a Novanji. Zap's going to come out, still taking away. Heal going to come out first from Arctic. Novanji going to manage to flash out. Lives with a sliver of the health as the Guardian's going to get procced there on the Lyra, starting to take a little bit of that chip damage from Arctic. And a decent trade there by the Sam Houston bot lane, but both flashes expended there. And critically, Arctic still holding on to Flash right now. So going to be hard to knock that Ashe or holder into place on a gank. So importantly for Redtails, they're not exactly in a dire situation in that bot lane. Yes, it does suck to not have Flash on the Nico, but at least you do still have it on the carry. So Arctic not necessarily going to die to the first little bit of CC, but a large minion wave here. He's going to lose a significant amount of that farm and that gold as they're trying to hold it just in front of the turret. So Sam Houston bot lane going to back on a ward. So, again, just more information giving over to the team as we're going to see a few of those minions drop in that bot lane tower. Not too many, but enough to where it will still be an experience and gold lead here for the Sam Houston bot lane. So, should be roughly the same farm when they get back. As Arctic not going to be able to freeze this. Not enough caster minions left in that wave, especially with the minions going down. Sorry, the melee minions going down pretty quickly. Puppet Cat going to land the cage slam, trying not to walk in and make sure it doesn't get rooted up. It's just going to be a trade of autos there and some potions being expended. But early tempo so far going the way of Redtails. Again, just a heads-up gank there by Egregious to be in the right spot. And of course, it never really left that top side too, so Texas A, I think, may have rightly assumed that the Trundle wasn't there. I was about to say Dragonx. No way he gets this. The cage is going to come down. Flashes out of it. Ult's going to come down on top of him. Slam picking up one of his own. Just an overextension play there by Dre. Not able to get in range to land the stun of Slam, who flashed out of the cage. Now Egregious going to try and land on top of Puppy Cat himself. Does have the flash. Is going to get knocked up by Scout of the Week, though, so he's just going to drop here in the mid lane. And that's two. Another kill's going there for the Redtails. Sam Houston dropping across the board, so 0 and 4 so far in this game. Getting beat out in this early game by this Redtail squad is Zodiac just getting nuisancely rooted up there in the bot lane by that Nico. What I want to see Sam Houston do right now, because they're starting to give a little bit of this early tempo away to the Redtails, and I think that's dangerous, especially given the early game strength that this comp does have for the side of this Redtails. You know, that is one of the things that we haven't necessarily talked about is how hard it is to navigate the mid game against a Syndra that starts to have bonus gold going into her pocket, starts to get some of those early kills. And a Trundle, obviously a very obnoxious jungler to try and deal with both in the mid and the late game, does scale pretty well. So does Volibear. But in the pure 1-to-1, I think you probably have to give it to the Trundle just because of how much damage he does. Is Lyros going to jump on in? Novanji trying to get out. One more tongue lash to get the proc. Lyros still running, is going to get it, but not enough to get the Devour. Novanji makes his way out. And flashes the emote again. Just Trundle waiting in the wings here, though. Is going to get spotted out on the ward, so they know he's here. Central roaming down, though. Could be a good fight for them. Dragonx going to try and get up here in this top lane. Flash out from Gazer. Dragonx not willing to let this go. Does land the stun, but Gazer plenty healthy enough. Is going to return back with the pillar. And again, the Sam Houston bot lane. They have to navigate this one very, very carefully, as they still have vision on the jungler there. Predator activated there for Puppy Cat. Slam trying not to hit the wall. Is going to get CC'd up if he does get stunned, but manages to navigate that very, very carefully. Well done by the Redtails bot laner, the mid laner, to not get stunned up there, even for a second. With the Tom Kinch waiting in the wings, very difficult to try and survive that last little bit of CC to survive getting devoured up. And Slam ultimately just going to return to that mid lane and continue farming. Most important for Sam Houston, though, they haven't given up the drag, and as Lyra's going to jump in again, Novanji has not got flash, so it's going to drop. Novanji going to get donated over to Zodiac. Is going to get rooted up by the Chompers. Arctic, can he get out? Trying to flash out. Super Mega Death Rocket lands it for the first time. Sam Houston going to land that ability. A little bit of carefully considered B into them. Let's all love, I assure you, as Gazer just going to kill Texas A here if he doesn't flash out. The Puppy Cat going to survive with 1 health. Underneath the turret, Dragonx trying to get in. Predator activated. Is going to get the shielding, land the stun. Slam Daddy doesn't have ultimate. But Dragonx not necessarily enough damage yet. Can pursue under the tower. Does have ultimate, but not willing to use it right now. So Slam going to survive that contact in the mid lane and ultimately force the Sam Houston jungle out of there. The next one play in that bot lane, Sam Houston, to get 2 kills on the board and get some money into Zodiac's hand. But nice to see that Super Mega Death Rocket not go low, because I think there's a big habit for players to overestimate where that rocket is going to go in terms of the enemy player positioning. So a lot of times it goes wide, and it just leaves you wondering what could have been when there's a couple kills left on the board. But Zodiac not willing to let that one go. Hits the ability. Fantastic play. And great timing on the engage, too, knowing that Novanji's flash was going to be up. So timing that just carefully enough to pick up the kill there on the side of Sam Houston. So Lyros playing heads up there. Is that rune? I think one of my least favorite runes when you're playing against support that does any kind of slow damage, does any kind of rooting ability, is Texas is going to jump in here, knocks Gazer out, but Gazer just not taking a lot of damage. Now, there are flashes available for Novanji, so not necessarily going to get caught up. Crystal Arrow is going to go out. Lyrostone going to swallow up Draginx, but it's not going to prevent the Root from going down for the Chompers. And another Super Mega Death Rocket. 2 for 2, shooting them like free throws. And Zodiac starting to get where he needs to be. 3-0 on to this Jinx right now. Does have that quiver completed. Now it should just be the Dragon going the way of Sam Houston. An interesting call from them, and I think an even more interesting lack of call from the Redtails, given the fact that they had such a commanding lead both in the mid lane for tempo and in the bot lane as well, just being able to have access to that Dragon that they didn't take it earlier. So first Dragon going to go about 10 minutes, so we'll be about the 15-minute mark that we get this next Dragon. So that does leave Herald play available for the Redtails if they do want to make it, and they are starting that off. So they can respond here. They can look to hold it until the next Dragon by the time they take it. So that is an option, a play for them to make. But I think the next Dragon actually respawns just after the 14-minute mark, as it is going to be a full gank here. Texas A is going to get knocked up, is going to get hit by that Scatter. The Weekend's going to dry underneath the turret, and now this should just be the Herald play to go ahead and knock this turret down. They've got 2 melee champions, and with Trundle, who's an absolutely tower-taking machine, as he's taking shots from the tower, he's going to go ahead and back there and donate that gold. So, well, would have donated it to Gazer, but they were still within range of the tower, so as Slam Daddy's going to go ahead and teleport into a cage, but ultimately nothing going to come of that one, Puppy Cat. Not enough mana to burst Slam Daddy with that Syndra. Look for a kill. So interesting trades here across the board for both these teams. I think more interestingly, I think is the priority that Redtails is putting on the team fighting and trying to get some of these early leads in terms of fighting, and less so about the neutral objectives, although that tower losing almost all of its plate in that top lane is going to be nice. And I think also a good play too, because if you wait for Dragon to respawn if you're Redtails and try and make that play with a Herald, it's going to time out. The plate's going to time out before you get to make it. You won't necessarily get to collect the turret gold and contest for the Dragon just because of the timing. Texas A still fearless, though. Even despite being 0-3, still jumping in and out, fighting Gazer on this Ornn, though. But a 2-level advantage for that Ornn. Not even going to be remotely afraid of the Jace right now. And unfortunately, Jace is one of those champions that a lot of times we feel has to have some early game effect. As Slam Daddy is going to clear out this ward here. Wildling getting collapsed on Lyros. Going to jump out. No, gets stunned out of the jump. Not able to dive through. The Green just trying to find something. Is getting traded back, though, and Jinx gets the reset, gets the flash out. Not going to get rooted up by the Nico, and now he could get 1, he could get 2, he could get 3. Novanji trying to survive, doesn't, and it's a triple kill for Zodiac. No worries, baby. She's going to pick up that one, and now they're looking to the top lane. Gazer trying to get himself out of here. Is going to manage to do so. What an outplay by the Sam Houston ADC. Lyros wasting so much time, buying so much time for Zodiac to get damage down, and once you get that 1 reset, it's off to the races. An incredible outplay there by the Sam Houston bot laner, and just fantastic prioritization to make sure that you get the Trundle down so it can't pursue you underneath the tower, and then turn onto Arctic. Make sure you're not getting slowed. Is Slam going to get the Electrocute and the ultimate down. On top of Scout of the Week, Draginx trying to make something happen. There is a small level lead here, though, for Slam, so should be able to walk his way out. Egregious is going to be here, just knock Draginx away. Didn't land the pillar behind him, though, so we'll just be able to walk away from this one. And now Gazer, fancying himself a fight, is going to get the 1 knock up there. Brittle on top of Texas A. No flash for Gazer. Bellows Breath, and the Brittle is enough to give him the kill. As Lyro's going to land straight onto Novanji, dodging the Trundle straight out of his boots. Zodiac. Oh, sorry, I thought that was Trundle. No, it wasn't Trundle. It was Lyros just going to land the Tongue Lash and donate the kill over to Zodiac, who is now a monster. Kraken Slayer boots. This Jinx is mind-numbingly far ahead now, and an absolute slingshot from where Sam Houston were. 7 kills in the space of just 3 minutes going into the pocket of Zodiac. That is now a well and truly terrifying Jinx. That is not an ADC that any member of this Redtail squad wants any part of, and that includes the very, very far ahead Ornn. Yes, it does have a couple of level lead over that Jace. Yes, does have about a 2-level lead over Zodiac on the Jinx, but honestly, with the Kraken Slayer being completed and the crit boots as well, it's not a fight that you want to try and take as Ornn right now, because you don't have the Ornn items coming through. You haven't necessarily completed any of your main items. So if a team fight breaks out right now in this 5v5 as this Dragon's coming up in about 40 seconds, Sam Houston in a pretty good position to win this. Across the board, though, no other items being completed for any of the other members of this team, with the exception of Slam having that Luton's Echo. Only 2 members having items completed across the board in this game. So interested to see, in terms of that team fight, what's going to have more effect, because this Dragon is something that both these teams are going to want to fight for. Redtails have the tempo right now. They have first access to this Dragon. They have quite a bit of vision in there, including a small ward just behind that Dragon Pit in that small brush right there. Does have Ornn pushed up. I think no risk for them losing that top lane turret. Is Trey trying to go in here on top of Gazer. Does have Zodiac here. Lyros wrapping around. Gazer could be dropping here. Goes unstoppable. And the knockup going to be enough to slow him down just for a second. It is going to drop. That's the 8th kill for Zodiac, who was starting to become a menace. Super Mega Death Rocket goes wide, but Zap does not. As Texas A sees that ability stream by him, is going to knock down Arctic. And now Sam Houston, they have absolutely wrestled control of this game back out of the hands of the Redtails now, as Scout of the Week going to land on Puppycat. Flash out. Ultimate still connects, but not enough to knock him down. Full combo not there for Slam Daddy. Second Dragon going over to Sam Houston, and now they're in the driver's seat here. Now they have the right to dictate how this game goes. And dictate they will, as Zodiac going to be down there finishing off that bot lane turret. Has plenty of damage with which to do so, and is relatively safe for now. But if Egregious walks up here, he's going to die. Zodiac will absolutely just knock him down. It's rockets all the way, and you do not want to be standing underneath that turret when it goes, and so he's just going to buzz off. As Zodiac going to go ahead and take that one. So first turret of the game going down for Sam Houston. As Texas A, he's going to fall here. It's just a turret shot. Not able to jump in. Gets the knockout, but it's not enough. A good trade. The health bar is there for a second, but just not enough damage to complete that trade, though. Does only just now have the Eclipse. Does have the boots, but Syndra's still pretty far ahead right now. That Luton's Echo, I think, one of the better items for trading just in that short burst. And obviously, Jace not known for his very lengthy health bar or the amount of armor that he's going to build. It's not like a Graves where you're going to be able to survive some of these trades. So Texas A still continuing to just be the target there by this Redtail squad in that top lane. But has been relatively fearless, even despite the attention he's been paid, just knowing that the more attention he draws up in that top lane, the more the Redtails are going to have to respond to him. Jace eventually will be able to have some effect in that side lane, but is hampered right now just purely off of the fact that he doesn't have a very large lead with which to start smashing some of these tankier players here on the red side, Redtails squad. This will be the Herald going down for that Redtail squad. So they have another option to play around too. They can try and pop this Herald either in mid or in bot lane if they can get something going there. But with Puppycat shoving in that bot lane, getting that wave push is going to draw the attention of a couple of those Redtail members. Zap going to hit on top of Arctic, and Lyros is going to jump in. This should just be a double kill. Navanchi trying to get out of here. Nope. Manages to land the root, and now Slam Daddy's here. Super Mega Death Rocket, not enough to get it though. And Dre Gang's not in range of the turret to turn it off, so they can't necessarily dive all the way, but enough to prevent the re-engage from the Redtail squad. And this should just be the go-ahead to siege on top of this mid lane. One member strong there. Not going to be able to hold this one right now. And Slam risking getting dove right now by the multiple members of the Sam Houston squad, but ultimately they're going to make the decision to just peel off. So Sam Houston right now, I think the biggest thing for them to continue on in this game, especially snowballing the leads that they have on this Jinx, is to continue to try and look for team fights and find some of these skirmishes that they have been finding, pick some of these members, and most importantly, keep this Syndra down, keep the Ashe relatively low level, making sure that she doesn't get free time to farm. It's a huge difference in the CS, as Lyra's going to jump over, flashes out to avoid the Scout of the Week there from Slam Daddy, just to make sure he lives. Ultimately, I think not a summoner that Lyros is going to miss too much, except in a situation where they get caught, but it does still suck to not have that flash for engages, but obviously with the dive in, with that Tahm Kench, it is easier to set up on some of these targets for this Redtail squad, especially considering some of the lack of mobility that some of these members have. I mean, really, the most two mobile members you have on this squad are going to be the Trundle and the Nico, just with the ability to roam across the map and the ability to get a little bit of extra movement speed to dodge out on some of these CC abilities and, you know, ultimately play around some of the zoning. But beyond that, a lot of these other members of this Redtail squad are pretty immobile. Ashe not exactly going to be able to get out of any kind of combination CC. Neither is Ornn and neither is Syndra. And again, we talked about those damage threats. Really, you are looking for that Syndra to set up some of these team plays and land a lot of that damage until the Ashe can just become a factor in this game. But being so far behind right now, there will be some time. Dragix looking for a gank here. Predator activated. Gonna get the stun. Flash out from Gazer, trying to activate the ultimate. Is going to get knocked out of it, so not enough to land on either of those members, but does walk out pretty healthy and escapes with his life. So ultimately just a small investment of time there by Sam Houston. I don't think they're necessarily worried too much about getting the kill there. You just want to force the Ornn to back so you can get some more pressure on his top lane and possibly look to take his egregious. Trying to deny some of these Raptors, take away a little bit of this gold farming here from the side of Sam Houston as they continue to try and work on this mid turret. And I think they would have liked to have gotten that mid lane turret before this next dragon fight because Sam Houston does still have the run of the map with that bot lane turret being down and with the mid lane turret being fairly low right now. Scout of the Week going to land on top of Lyros. Baby Kid's going on top of it. Dragon's going to land in. The first one to go down is Slam. And now Redtails, they have no damage. Zodiac getting on top of them. They're going to start to run him down. Crystal Air going to go out. But the empowered, I think it was the powered Q there from Jace. It was the Shockwave Gate. Enough to land that kill on top of Novanji. This is going to be the third Drake going the way of Sam Houston. And this Redtail squad just not able to get on the back line of Sam Houston, not able to find that Jinx who stayed fairly healthy, turned around, killed their pursuers in the Redtails, and ultimately just shrugged that one off. So again, kind of what we've been talking about, Sam Houston just continuing to find these team fights where they want to, because they do have the itemization lead. You're looking at Kraken Slayer, Phantom Dancer for Zodiac. It's an incredible item spike in terms of power for that ADC. I mean, it's only going to get worse too. It might be the Infinity Edge coming out here. Or, I'm not sure. It might be an Infinity Edge. I'm not sure what else it could build into just with the cloak. As Egregious going to miss the fill up. Texas Eye wanting to stay here right now. Has no help though, so he's just going to drop. He's going to get rooted up. Egregious going to collect on that one. He was pinging. Lyros was in the area. Not sure why they decided to leave. Or if they was just looking to trade for there. Dragang's trying to hit the back of this Herald. It is going to crash into that bot lane turret, though. Should drop, so that bot lane turret will not be falling. Just a pressure gank there to try and get a little bit more damage onto it. And Dragang's is not that far off from this Ornn as Redtail's trying to start up this Baron, but this is a terrible call. Zodiac is going to get in there. Teleport coming out from the Ornn, but it's going to be far too late. Another drop, and Lyros picks up the jungler, and now this has gone so horrifically wrong for Redtails. A terrible call gone worse because not only are they going to lose the Baron, they're not even going to get it. They're going to donate kills as well. Triple kill for Zodiac, 14-0-2. And they're just going to run mid lane. I'm not sure what that call was for Redtails, thinking that they could go on to the Baron. I guess thinking that maybe Dragons was going to be bot lane so they wouldn't respond. But the Sam Houston members waiting around in that mid lane, there was absolutely no chance they weren't going to spot that out. Even just walking into the river. And again, no way for that Redtail squad to take that Baron healthy because they just don't have the tankier members in place. I mean, Trundle's not going to be able to soak that damage for long. Ornn not there to start it up. So just poor decision-making there. He's going to cost them the Baron. And now Sam Houston, they're going to reap the rewards off this. Possibility to get this bot lane turret is the Redtail members trying to dive in here. They are going to get rooted up in this cage. Zodiac throws out a rocket for good measure. And now with your Redtails, it becomes very difficult to start to get back in this game because Jinx is reaching that point where she's going to be able to self-peel and where she has enough bodyguards in the way between the Volibear and between the Tahm Kench just walking it back and making sure that no one gets on top of her. It'd be very difficult for this Jinx to get locked down. No flash right now, though, so if this Redtail squad does commit a couple flashes to try and get on top of this hyper-scaling carry that Sam Houston does have, you can see where they win a fight there. Maybe if they're able to pick off Puppy Cat and deny some of that CC setup that they have. But ultimately, short of that, short of committing a bunch of flashes to get on the back line, it's very difficult for this Redtail squad to really make anything happen. And again, just playing around this Baron area, looking like they're trying to set up for something. Zodiac and Lyros going to get spotted out on vision, but they're going to clear it away. Gazer activating the Ornhorn a little early. That only goes on to 1, and that's a huge engage tool that's down for them now. And Sam Houston, they don't even need to respond to this if they don't want to. They can just continue to shove these lanes because they have the Dragon lead. They have the pressure. They have the split push more or less going in the bot lane with Puppy Cat. And Dragon spawning in a minute 40. Because they're in control, they can just force Redtails to come to them. They don't need to hurry to take this Baron at all. They're just going to continue to play for vision and just continue to force Arctic to make these 50-50 decisions, continue to make riskier and riskier plays. After the land down on top of Gazer, he's just going to dash his way out of there. Now Sam Houston, now that they've shoved the bot wave and they have pressure, they can look to try and set this Baron up if they want to. They don't even need to start it. They can just threaten it and force this Redtails team to come to them and set up some deeper vision in this topside jungle here. And so that's going to be Hawk Shot coming out there. Novanji dropping below half, though. The acceleration gate with that Q just absolutely devastating from long range. And some of that poke that they have on the side of the Sam Houston squad going to be very difficult for this Redtail squad to navigate if they want to try and make their way into Baron. Novanji is literally one hit. So is going to have to back, and right as this dragon really is about to start up, because this is going to where we're going to, this is where we're going to see the fight for Vision start to come out. Sam Houston, the first ones here, though. They're going to be the one to be able to have the opportunity to kick this fight off. Again, just playing it so patiently, not in a rush at all. Know that they have the Jinx, know that they have the Volibear, know that Vikar's going to become an increasingly dangerous late-game threat. And just casually take this dragon fight, look for a pick. And then if they win this, too, this is probably the straw that breaks the camel's back, because if you're Sam Houston and you win this fight here at the Dragon, you should just go straight over to Baron and take that and end the game. As Egregious trying to get in here, but the zoning from Sam Houston just way too good. He's going to be forced to flash out. Crystal Arrow landing on top of Dragons. Super Mega Death Rocket going to land on top of him, though. Texas Light, can he get out? Jump straight back into Gazer, who has to dash out. Slam Daddy going to pick him up in the end, but it's a one-for-one trade. Sam Houston, though, better health bars right now. Dragons going to run in and get the stun on top of Gazer. Waited out that Unbreakable there perfectly, so it's going to be another stun up there. Zodiac is absolutely legendary. He's about to go godlike because that's a double kill, and it's likely to be a triple kill. Is going to get that one. 18-0 for the Sam Houston bot laner. Get out of his way. He's rocking, he's rolling, and he is ever so dangerous, and they're just going to push into the base and crack this open. Long death timers here with the exception of Egregious, who dropped early in that fight. So this will be the inhibitor going down, and now Sam Houston, they can just drop back to the Baron after a reset. It is going to be Dragons on that Dragon, so that's going to be Drag Soul, reset, and likely a Baron here. Unless they just want to go straight to it, they can't do that. I mean, the resets on Jinx, she has full mana, has that blue buff. Everyone's still relatively healthy, and with the Soul, they might just be able to start this up. And yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do. Just going to jump in. You have the 4-item Jinx, realistically speaking. You have the Kraken Slayer, you have the Infinity Edge, you have the PD Dancer, and you have, this item, you have that Hex Drinker there. So not even a magic damage from Slam even going to be able to matter in some of these team fights. So the absolute play there. And the reward for Sam Houston's patience is absolutely undeniable control of the map. And now this should just be, realistically speaking, the last couple of minute march to end out this game. One inhibitor down in the mid lane. They can choose to pick a side lane and try and force that through. Or, I mean, heck, if they wanted to, they could just run it straight down there to take a fight. There's nothing that Redtails can really do about it except to hope to get a pick. This Jinx is 700 shutdown gold, and it would be twice over because it is 18-0-3. So if you want to get back in this game, if you're Redtails, and it's starting to seem more and more unlikely, but if you want to try and get back in it, this Jinx is the way in. It's a lot of gold. If you give 700 gold to a carrier like Arctic to try and get it back in the game, or if you put that onto that Syndra, you start to open up some opportunities to look for some better team fights and maybe claw your way back into this one. But with a couple minutes, about 4 or so minutes left on Baron right now, Sam Houston, it'll be extremely difficult to work with here. They can just slowly siege this away, play the zoning game, force Redtails to back off, or get CC'd. He's just going to let that cannon minion siege away. Another Ornhorn. Not sure who that's going on to, though. It is just going to go wide. And this Redtails team just trying to see if they can start something up. A 3-member strong here, Sam Houston, is all they need to be able to take this fight. Ornn going to jump in, but with no Ornn, there's not enough CC to follow up on top of it. Is going to knock down Lyra's Tome in the end, but that's not the one you want. Teleport coming out from Jace here. Sam Houston, do they want to try and re-engage this? Last going to go wide and only just tickle a couple of those members. 5 strong here in this bot lane. No Volibear here for Sam Houston yet. But again, with this Dragon Soul and with Baron right now, they can continue to just wait this out. Navon's going to get stunned up. Is going to drop. Puppy Cat's going to pick that one up. First kill of the game is going to get on board now. And without that support, without some of that reliable CC that Redtails had, now they have to back all the way off because Baron's still very much up for the Sam Houston team. Ultimately going to come out. Puppy Cat, no mercy. Jumping in on top of Slam Daddy. Egregious trying to get himself out. But Dragang's not letting this one go. It's a very, very fast bear. He's got claws, he's got anger, and he's about to get this kill. As no, it's going to donate it over to Zodiac. 18-0-4. No, that might have just been the inhibitor going down. Not sure who picked up that kill because it went so quickly. But it doesn't matter because you know what Sam Houston's about to pick up? They're about to pick up the base. They're about to pick up this win, as it is just going to be the final nail in the coffin That's one tower down. It's going to be another tower down falling off. It turns back on, but not soon enough. And Sam Houston going to turn out the lights on this one. One final Warhorn. Crystal AR going on to one. But no, not enough. The inhibitor, or sorry, the Nexus is going to fall. Sam Houston pick up their first game in the series.